All right, welcome to this week in League De Nutz. 'Tis the season to look forward to the playoffs, maybe, but it is that time of year. Happy holidays as Run DMC gets us going here on This Week in League De Nutz. The mission I have is to recap Week 13. I'm pointing right at you and tell you all about Week 14 as we get things cranked up right here in the studio for LDN League De Nutz. This week in League De Nutz is brought to you by absolutely no one. How about that? We're sponsorless. Just felt like saying that. Meanwhile, 13 weeks in the books. How about that? The playoffs right around the corner. Week 14 is cranking up with still a lot of fight between all the respective squads. Just about everyone is alive with somewhat of a pulse. We'll get to the standings. We'll get to the Meltzy. We'll get to the scoreboard. It's light as we had our Thursday night dud happen once again. The Amazon dud strikes. Not really, right? It was actually the Baker Mayfield extravaganza that led the way. So it was actually a Thursday night dud for 59 minutes. And then it turned into a lot of fun and a memorable game. But anyway, we're here to talk about all the happenings in this week in League De Nutz. Last week, I was celebrating. I was riding high. 9 straight wins. And just like that, I get to the back of the bus, so to speak. And to the front of the bus, we put this team who is just all sorts of en fuego. On fire, the flames, you can see them right there. And let's talk about AB's painted helmet, who gets the job done. I passed the torch to him from my 9-game win streak to his 5-game win streak, like the great Muhammad Ali, the greatest, to Janet Evans. Memorable moment for sure in the annals of sports history. The 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta. How memorable was that? Right? Muhammad Ali, rest in peace. Anyway, as I pass that torch, I've got to pass the scoreboard. I've got to pass the flames with the football. I've got to pass the Enfuego signs. I've got to do everything. Give it up for AB's painted helmet, taking care of business as they win 157 to 73. They double up Dingstown. What does that mean for Dingstown? Well, it could mean a Meltzy later on. I don't want to spoil anything right now. Get to that Meltzy, believe me. 73 points does put you in good position, right? AB's had another great weekend from their 1-2 punch. Yep. St. Brown, Diggs. What did they do? They went ape you know what, as they were able to get the job done there. Tame sort of day for Diggs, but St. Brown was great. You put them together, it's good enough for 66 points. I'm sorry, 68 points. They combine 18 receptions, 206 yards on the day. Look, there's Diggs on Family Feud. How about that? Steve Harvey, right? Long live Richard Dawson, the greatest Family Feud host ever. And he was pretty damn good in The Running Man, which is an underrated flick. For Arnie, for anything. Well, outdated, I know. But anyway, and there's the kid on the Lions who's just catching everything in sight right there. In St. Brown. Burrow with the 33 points for the Cincinnati Bengals, as he was 25 of 31, 286 yards, 2 TDs, also can run the football, really is an underrated runner. 46 yards, 11 carries, a touchdown, averaging 28 points a game, 4th best quarterback in the league. As he'll take on Cleveland this weekend, ABs will take on Loopy's Legends. Meanwhile, Dings with the loss. So we go back to that box score. Is now 6-7. He'll take on Yonkers. And Dings was sort of building a picket fence, a little bit of a donut bagel thing going. Too many ones. Edwards with a 1. A Waddle with a 1. Knox. Not a lot of bagel donut action. That could be either or right there. That's a bagel with dimples or eyes or donut with eyes bouncing around. There's your picket fence, right? You don't want a picket fence in fantasy football. You really, really don't. Let's move on. Shall we? I think we shall. As I just noticed here, there's this Windex bottles in the middle of the camera shot. So to do some on-the-fly shuffling around. So I jumped on here really quick tonight. I'm starting to see the mess as I look in the camera. I don't want to see a mess. But anyway, let's move on and tell you all about our next contest. Enough of the donut and the picket fence. Let me get my notes together. Okay. Smash You. He went streaking. He did. How about that? A little Will Ferrell throw in there for you. Making a cameo here on This Week in League De Nutz. As the 8-game win streak that Smash rode between October and November was snapped, but he's on a new one. As he's now won his second straight here in the month of November, taking out yours truly, 169 to 131. The scoreboard shows it. Smash with that logo of the Jolly Green Giant meets Hulk. And Nutztown with his Destroyer, not good enough though. No wrecking ball action. In week 13, as Nutztown again has that 9-game win streak snapped. Tough sled in there for Nutztown against Smash. Both squads now 10-3 on the season. And they're ranked first and third in points respectively in League De Nutz. Smash averaging 164 a game. That's 2,133 points per contest on the season. Good for numero uno right now. We'll talk about the playoff preview and what it will look like with 2 weeks left as we get through this show. Smash led by their usual suspects. You see it up there, right? Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. Was talking about the other two receivers and St. Brown a moment ago, right? Combining with Diggs for what, 68? Well, how about these two guys? Hold on one second, guys. My battery and the computer's running low. Let me plug in. 1 second. I think I'm plugged in now. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right. My bad. Sorry about that. Do not want to lose juice. Let me just show you visual evidence that I am still here. And I did move the Windex bottle, so I apologize for that. See, I told you I was rushing around to get on and to get the show going, and I didn't plug in the computer. But thank goodness for the warning. So we were talking about Smash. Let's get back to the scoreboard and the box score. And we were talking about the wide receivers, right? Gave you the highlight a moment ago from AB's game with Dings and talked about their dynamic duo. It doesn't get better than these two right here. Really doesn't. As Smash gets the lift, I would say, and then some. Devontae, 51. Tyreek, 44. Both of these guys are just fabulous. They really are. If you take a look at the numbers and the box score yourself, and the two electric players that are pictured, 9 receptions, $146 on the yards. TD for Tyreek. Devontae, 8 grabs, 177 on the yardage, a pair of touchdowns. And both of them just keep the chains going, the ball rolling. Any cliche you want to use to emphasize momentum can be attributed to these terrific wide receivers for Smash You. Meanwhile, I have some players on my team that get the job done primarily week in and week out consistently, but not in week 13. Tame day for my guys right there in Mahomes and Kelsey. Only 27 between the two. And my other guy, Mike Evans, he's got me a little worried. I'm not going to lie to you. Evans is a terrific football player, right? He's had an outstanding career in the NFL. Take a look at his numbers and some of his highlights right there. As you see him pictured. Those are highlights, I think, from 2020. Right? Yep, it is. Because you see the pandemic crowd. There's no one there. Anyway. Here. All right, I hope you guys are still with me. Because I was talking and I wound up losing my connection. I was telling you that the battery, something was wrong. It was plugged in, and obviously the plug was not pushed in enough, I guess. So anyway, I hope you're still with me. Sorry for any technical difficulties. That was kind of weird. Like I told you, I took a pause, plugged it in, and whatever. Anyway, I was talking about Mike Evans. He's got me a little nervous. He's been a great football player in his career in the NFL. The 7th pick in the 2014 draft for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's been able to set 6 NFL records already in his career. Youngest guy to 2,000 yards. As he was able to do that at age 27. And last year he set a Bucs record. He has like a dozen team records. He had 14 touchdowns. But this year, he's struggling a little bit. And he hasn't really had a crazy game since week number 4 against Kansas City, where he won off for 41 points. So I'm a little bit worried about Evans. I'm not going to lie to you. Has me a little bit worried as I get ready for Del Rey. Here in week number 14, Smash will face Polk High School. So Smash, you knocked me off the perch. My 9-game win streak is over. I forgot what it felt like to lose. That's a great feeling in life, but hey, it happens, and all you can do is go back to the drawing board, and all we can do is move on to the third matchup in our scoreboard from week number 13. Let's do that, and let's highlight our next victory. And that belonged to Stanford Does Nuts. 133-107 was the victory for Stanford, who improves to 5-8. Keldar with the loss to Alien. He's now 7-6. I don't know if Stanford's happier about his win or about this. Aaron Judge, 360 million clams to remain a New York Yankee for 9 years. Now he's just got to win some rings. As Judge gets the money, Stanford gets the win, and Stanford Does Nuts has a little bit of a pulse, right? Just a little bit of a pulse, as he's hopeful. There's a chance he can make it into the second season. Who knows? He might be carried by the vaunted Cleveland Brown defense. I'm not kidding, folks. How about that Cleveland Brown defense going crazy? Take a look for yourself on Sunday. 30 points. Wow. I'm going to show you the box score. They were the high man for Stanford Does Nuts. They were able to score 3 touchdowns, a pair of interceptions, a couple forced fumbles. Just an amazing, amazing defensive effort for Cleveland against one of the worst offenses I've seen in fantasy football ever. I had Nico Collins, the wide receiver. Somehow he managed 12 points for me as I plugged him into the lineup last week because I was nervous Judy wasn't going to be able to get much done with that ankle. Collins wound up having 2 more points, but that is one anemic offense, and Watson didn't have to do much to get a win in his return for Cleveland. Wow. When I think of Cleveland defense, I think of Clay Matthews. senior. What a study was a linebacker, an old school linebacker. Look at the scoring log for that Cleveland defense. They were -3 a few weeks ago. 4 point, 1 point week prior to this, prior to that, before the -3 in week, 10? Unbelievable. 30 points you get from your defense. You know what else I was looking at as just go down Keldar's. Go down his box score real quick. For Keldar, you can see Saquon got the job done. And that was really it. Perrine also steady. Those two really the only one doing anything. This was an even tilt if you take away the Cleveland defense, but lots of duds instead of duds. And the interesting thing I'll show you now is how many points these guys left on the bench. Come on now. You got to do better than that in the home stretch. Look at that. Points aplenty on the bench for both teams. Everything is always hindsight in 2020, right? After the fact. You can Monday morning quarterback all the way into Saturday night like I'm doing right now. Let's move on, shall we? Yonkers Shotgunners. Pop the champagne. A little bubbly. Let the Moet flow. As they were able to get the win. Yonkers, 186-138 over Loopy's Legends. Yonkers, talk about having a pulse. They do. 5-8, a little one. Loopy's, 6 straight losses, now 4-9 for the two-time defending League De Nutz champion. Yonkers got it done with a pair of Philly cheesesteaks. They most certainly did. As you can see the highlights for yourself, Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, they combo for 78 points. Smith, 5 catches, 102 yards, touchdown. Hurts combined for 4 touchdowns in total, 380 yards. Both of them are Super Bowl worthy right now. I'm telling you that much, and I hate to say that for a Philly team. Meanwhile, Loopy's has an eagle. That's tremendous in his own right as you take a look at the cheesesteaks. A.J. Brown, 8 catches, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Eagles last weekend to go along with Smith and Hurts. But Loopy's can use a few more AJs. Look at that. Lathering on that cheese whiz. Any food that needs a tool is my kind of food, right? You got to think the guy or girl who's a cheesesteak chef, they've got to smell like grease forever. As long as you're in that job, you've got to just smell like cheesesteak. Good thing, bad thing? I don't know. If you love your job, I guess it's a good thing. I wonder how many cheesesteaks a good cheesesteak maker can make in an 8-hour shift or, their normal shift. Anyway, ABs. They'll play Loopy's. Yonkers Shotgunners will take their chance against Dingstown in week number 14. Also with a win. And Fox trotting his way to victory. Fantastic Mr. Fox. See it right there. 150-121 over Dax Picks. Fantastic Mr. Fox entered League De Nutz as a rookie in 2018. They won the title. And as a rookie, and now they played, I should say. A rookie is looking to make his own history in League De Nutz in 2022. That's Dax Picks, but that didn't happen in week 13. Mr. Fox, well, he got it done with some balance. Always balance, Danielson. 8 players in double figures from top to bottom. Tua, 17 to the kicker, Robbie Gould. There's Tua up close and personal. Fox this weekend battles Keldar. Dax will play Stanford's Doze Nuts. And finally, my fine feathered friends, gotta let the confetti fly, right? I mean, we had a tie in League De Nutz. Whenever you have a tie, what happens? You go to the bench. The New York Giants had a tie against the Washington Redskins. I'll always call them the Redskins. Last week. About 3 hours and 20 minutes worth of real football ended in a tie, and what a waste of time it felt like. I'll say this much. I'm a traditionalist with football. I love the sudden death format. It's either you score, a team that scores first, the other one goes home. The new format, fine, it's okay. But if there's no score after regulation, you got to do the Texas overtime, right? Where you get the Texas sudden death overtime, whatever it's called. You get 4 chances within the 25-yard line or the 20-yard line. 4 chances on the red zone to poke it in, kick a field goal. Someone's got to win is my point. Ties are lame. And they do. In fantasy football, someone does win, even though they got a tie with the regular players. It's amazing that happens. 154 to 154, so they deserve some confetti. But the win would go to Polk High School because of the bench, right? 7-6 for Delray now with the loss. 6-7 on the flip side for Polk High School. As Polk, you can see right there, well, got some decent efforts. Fields, a great football player. Got done. Elliott, you can see. A couple others in double figures. McLaren, that's right. He was the guy who went off. I was thinking, who's the guy who went off? And then I had to look at the box score again. 36 points. Not enough doing for Delray, unfortunately. Lamar Jackson bails out with an knee injury. So you get the bagel right there for Delray. Jacob solid again. He had 58 the week before. 25. Huh? Where's my 58? Still a great Sunday, but not enough. Swift is slowly but surely coming into action. And you can see some good balance there. Even Wilson chipped in with 36. But in the end, not enough because it goes again to the bench. And it goes to Polk. And that means a whoa, Bundy. All right. 76-51, the bench wins. How about Polk High School? They go without Geno Smith as the starting quarterback, right? They start Fields, but Geno winds up winning the game. In other words, it always pays to have some depth on the bench. He gets 33 points. That was the difference right there. Geno Smith, go figure. So, good win there for Polk High School. Great effort there by the Delray Pounders. A tie is a tie. Go to the bench, determine the winner, and you live to play another day unless you're in the playoffs. That one would sting, as Keldar would say, forever. Talk about a sting. How about the Meltzy? Well, I talked about it earlier, right? Dingstown certainly earned it this week. Getting hammered. Whoops. Wrong scoreboard. I'm all over the place. Where's my Dingstown? Let me find it. I'm far from pitching a perfect game, but what the hell? It's been a long week. Dingstown scored, what, 73? If I remember correctly. Can't find the score. He gets the Meltzy this week. 73 points in the loss against AB's Painted Helmet. So Dingstown, you earned yourself the Meltzy. And with that, you get yourself a big-time splat, a tat-dat, as we took a look at the Meltzy scoreboard, my friends. There you have it. We've got a lot of teams with 2. Dingstown now in the race. Opens it up. Got 2 more weeks left. Loopies and Yonkers right now leading. But we could wind up with a bunch of teams tying with 2 apiece. We shall see how the Meltzies go. In the standings, well, tis the season, as I said earlier, right? More ways than one. You take a look, there's a couple divisions already settled. Talked about them. Luca Brazzi, Smash has got that. I've got the Haganah. But you still got some action going on in the Shoreham Drive East. 1 game behind the Butt Fumbles. 2 games behind Fantastic Fox. Delray holding on to a slim lead at 7-6. And for all intents and purposes, you've got some action in Furley Roper. AB's with a 2-game lead over Mighty Dodge, Polkai. And Dax Picks, I talked about a moment ago, they're trailing by 3. They're not going to win the division, but they have slim hopes of possibly getting in the playoffs. I wouldn't say slim. Let's take a look at that playoff bracket right now. Highlighted by this quote by the great Ray Nitschke. That's what you work all season for, to get into the playoff games, and you don't want to blow it. No, sir. Smash U would get the top seed if things were to end today. Nuttstown Destroyers, my squad, would get the 2nd seed. Then you get AB's getting in there. I talked about his 5-game win streak. The 4th seed will belong to Delray, highlighted a moment ago with their 7-6 mark and a 1-game lead in their division. Keldar would get in there with the 5th seed, 2nd in Haganah, and Polk High School. They would get in there with the 6th and final seed. So lots going on right now in those standings. Scoreboard week 14. I talked about the Baker Mayfield miracle the other night, but with the exception of Delray's Pounders, right? Got points from Jacobs, 25, or what do you get? 20-something from Jacobs, and then Carlson had a handful of points as well. They got 32 points from those two. Now, Jacobs got 25 last week and 13, then 58 the week before. I think he got 21. I think Carlson had 9 to make up their 30. Keldar with a couple. And how about Smash U? Devontae Adams finally cooled off. Only 11 points, right? Against Polk High School. And then you see Dax Picks earned himself 6 points on Thursday night. So light night of scoring Thursday night. Could be a heavy day of scoring. I have a feeling we're going to see the scoreboards light up in week 14. We're going to see the double century mark by a couple teams. I just have a feeling we're going to see high scoring, close games. Bye weeks. Last time this season we have to worry about this. We can throw that slide out next week. Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Indianapolis, Washington, New Orleans. So start your lineups accordingly. And then we go through week number 15 with no buys, and we'll see what's at stake. The money, you guys have done a pretty good job. We've gotten half of the money in, including my payment. 6 more payments to go. Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, U.S. Postal Mail. I'll send another email, and I'll highlight all the ways you can pay for League De Nutz. And, of course, we do it 65-35 split with the money, and the winner also gets that. The Nuts Cup. You know all this by now, right? Anyway, kind of an abbreviated show. I wanted to get it up and going for you guys. I was scrambling like a chicken without a head. Lost power there. I don't know why, but I even paused to plug it in. But hopefully you stayed with me and we stayed on with the stream. And you all go into week 14 with those fingers crossed, the toes crossed. You pop yourself open a cold one. Sit back, relax, and hope your team comes through with a big old Sunday as you gear up for a playoff run push. I know I am. I'm looking forward to it. With that said, have yourself an awesome weekend. Enjoy all the games in week 14. Please do get those payments in. Hit me up. Anything else? And enjoy the football. We'll catch you next week back here with This Week in League De Nutz. We'll highlight week 14. Talk all about week 15. The season is just about in the books. I'll catch you next week. Adios.